Hello friends, now I am going to speak about cells of immune system. We all know about immunity. So immunity is a concept where it defines the defense of our body, where it can include WBC or some of the cells which are specially produced for the purpose of immunity. In this case, if we consider the cells of immune system, the major cells of immune system are B cells, T cells, natural killer cells, phagocytes, macrophages, granulocytes, etc. If we consider B cell is a cell where it is produced in bone marrow. It was first discovered in bursa fabricus in bird, hence it has got the name B cell. B cell, bone marrow is the site of maturation for the B cell. The cells are produced in the bone marrow, then it is getting matured in bone marrow itself. So B cell serves as the major line of defense in our body. B cells are peculiar, it is having a peculiar characteristic that it is surrounded by a membrane bound antibodies. So this makes the B cell different from other cells of immune system. When a B cell comes in contact with an antigen, it will react with that antigen and it will proliferate or it will divide. It will divide to form an effector plasma cell and a memory cell. Effector plasma cell will produce some of the toxic enzymes to degrade the antigen. In the same way, the memory cell will be having longer lifespan. These memory cells will be revolving in the bloodstream. If the same antigen encounters once again, this memory cells will look after the antigens and it will provide a line of immunity for the body. B cells, when it is newly produced, it is produced in the bone marrow and it will replicate into plasma cell and memory cell. It is one of the major characteristic of B cell. If we consider T cell, T stands for thymus. Thymus is an organ where the T cell gets matured. The T cells are produced in the bone marrow, but the site of maturation for T cell is thymus. So even T cells plays a very important role in providing defense for the body. T cell called as thymus. T cells, if we consider the activity of T cell recognizes only MHC bounded antigen. MHC is a protein called as major histocompatibility complex. So this protein recognizes the foreign body entering the body. The foreign body is recognized by this MHC, and when the MHC recognizes the antigen, it acts like antigen presenting, or antigen presentation is done by MHC molecule. So this molecule will bound the antigen and that is recognized by T cell. T cell gets activated only when it recognizes the antigen bound with MHC molecule. T cell, when it comes in contact with the MHC molecule bounded antigen, it will divide into T helper cell or T cytotoxic cell, or it may be T helper regulatory cell. T cytotoxic cell results in degrading the antigen. T helper cell will act as antigen presenter cell, whereas T regulatory cell will help in regulating the action of T helper and T cytotoxic cells. T cytotoxic cells can identify the cell antigen bound with the MHC molecule, and it can create an immune response so that the antigen is eliminated from the body. The difference between T helper and T cytotoxic cell is they are comprising of different CD receptors or CD glycoproteins. T helper cell will be having CD4 glycoproteins and CD8 glycoproteins is present on T cytotoxic cell. After B and C cell, there are some cells which are specialized against tumor and virus. They are natural killer cells. Natural killer cells recognizes the tumor producing cells and also the cells which can get converted as a tumor, or even it can recognize the cells which are infected by virus. This natural killer cell will create an immune response against tumor cells and also virus infected cells. It will look after the elimination of virus from the body, and even it will create an immune response against tumor producing cells, so that the cells which are having the ability to produce this tumor can be eliminated. Natural killer cells provide a line of defense against tumor producing cells and virus cells. Then comes the phagocytes. Phagocytes are the cells which kills the microbes by phagocytosis. There are two types of phagocytes, monocytes and macrophages. Monocytes are the phagocytes which revolve in the body or which circulate along with the blood. These monocytes will kill the antigen by phagocytosis, and they are revolving in the body through the blood circulation. In the same way, the macrophages will be present on the surface of the tissue. They will not be moving in the bloodstream. They will be constant and they will act against the antigen through phagocytosis. They engulf the bacteria or they engulf the foreign body, and they create or they produce some of the lysozymes or enzymes which are harmful to the cell, which can break the cell membrane of the antigen, and these phagocytes will look after the elimination of the microorganism through degrading the cell membrane of the antigen. After phagocytes, let's consider granulocytes. So granulocytes are some of the basic cells of immunity. There are three types of granulocytes: neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils. Neutrophils are those kind of granulocytes where they are having multi-lobed nuclei. They can stain either by acidic stain or even by basic stain. Two kinds of stains can also be used to stain the neutrophils. Around 70% of the WBC comprises neutrophils. The first cell arriving at the site of wound are neutrophils. Neutrophils will be in higher concentration compared to basophils and eosinophils. Neutrophils can engulf, or by showing phagocytosis it can kill the microbes. In the same way, basophils can also show, or eosinophils can also show phagocytosis. Eosinophils contain some macrophages. It can stain only by acidic stain. Eosinophils can stain by using some of the acidic stain like eosinophils. After the neutrophil, the cells which are arriving at the site of wound are eosinophils. These are stained by acidic stain like eosin red. Basophils are the cell which are stained by basic dye, or the dyes which are basic in nature. The basophils, when it comes in contact with antigen or a foreign body, it can produce some pharmacologically active substances which helps in degrading the antigen. It will form a line of defense. So these three granulocytes, they are called as granulocytes because the cytoplasm of these three cells are granular in nature. So these cells are considered as granulocytes, and the remaining cells can be considered as agranulocytes. So these are some of the important cells whose production is major in case of immunity. To provide a line of defense or a defense mechanism in body, these cells, the function of these cells are very important. Even B cell, T cells and all the cells of immune system provide a line of defense, and they contribute majorly in cell mediated and innate immunity. Thank you.